Then there are those who cleave to classicism, the Renaissance literature, and all of these rediscoveries for their very paganism, for their opposition to Christ and to the church and to Christianity. And the sad part about it is that many of these found a welcome in Rome, a place in the papal court, and then because of that, there was this tremendous weakening of morals as a result of the Renaissance, weakening of the church right at Rome, weakening of the church in the West, and all of this, a little bit like the Great Western Schism we talked about last time, and the Avignon captivity of the papacy. All of this weakened the church and set things up for the coming of the Protestant revolt. And all of this idea of the Renaissance, perhaps for me, I would say that the greatest problem is that of putting man at the center of things. And this is one of those, the Renaissance is one of those watersheds in history we're never going to recover from. It's never going to change. Man now becomes the center and the sum of all things. He's in the heart of it. Even those who will strive their very, very best to promote the church and to fight error and heresy and to save souls, they too will be affected by this train of thought. The old idea of medieval man living a harmonious life in a Catholic culture in which everything is focused on the objective glory of God, that now sort of takes a second place, and man, his thoughts, his emotions, his feelings, his struggles, his sins, all of these take the first place because of the Renaissance, really. And so in that sense, we are all of us, alas, creatures of the Renaissance, children of the Renaissance. We almost have to sort of recognize that. There is this man-centeredness and an immense subjectivism. And of course, what's this subjectivism except something which will lead in turn, in short order, to Martin Luther and to his revolt against Christendom itself. And the Renaissance, perhaps, in this sense, could more properly be known as neo-paganism, or the revival of pagan antiquity in Christian circles. But now, at the time of the Renaissance, now we're going to be seeing a justification for being bad. Already in the late Middle Ages, you saw a little bit of that, but now you'll see a real theological or a philosophical justification for this badness, and that's going to lead in turn to open revolt. And then, so you can see in this sense how the neo-paganism of the Renaissance was just the wrong thing at the wrong time. Not only did it weaken the heart of Christianity, which was the papacy, but it introduced this idea of everything is man-centered art, man-centered spirituality, man-centered culture, politics, and economics. Everything is just the center. And at the same time, at the center of man. And at the same time, it weakens what is meant to be, in God's plan, the center of Christendom, that is to say, Rome and the papal court. So in 1521-22, you had Adrian VI. So he's just Pope for 2 years, and he attempts to make a reformation. And, of course, he has to work against a century and more of, not consistently, but very frequently, bad popes and worldly men. And he laments, Adrian VI does, that Rome has become the first source of vice. Because Nicholas V wanted Rome to be, he's a good example of a disastrous pope. He wanted Rome to be the center of this new learning. And so they bring in all of these neo-pagans and enemies of Christianity and immoral, disgustingly immoral men. And you can imagine the deleterious effect of it all. So the center is all wrong. The center is no longer Rome, a spiritual Rome preaching the truth, and then directing our attention to Christ the King, our Lord. Now the direction is on man, and that which should be the bulwark of Christendom, the papal court of Rome, becomes, unfortunately, an accomplice in rotting the very roots of this great tree of Christendom. The Black Death and to the Great Western Schism, several competing popes, it was due to the papacy in Avignon, the papacy as the plaything of the powerful Roman families in the 9th and the 10th centuries. All the trouble with politics, all the trouble with the raising of money, all the worldliness. And then, since we're on the topic, it was due to the Renaissance. It was due to this neo-paganism that infected the very heart of the church, the papal court at Rome. So, in a sense, you can see that the Catholic Church was the devil's playground during that era. The devil just moved around in so many areas unopposed. Our Lord, of course, raised up many and great saints at the same time in his mercy to be able to oppose this. But that's how Luther got his success, because he saw some of these evils, and he was able to use them, to twist them for his own purposes.